Welcome to Not Just a Transaction, the podcast series hosted by experienced real estate authorities Nick Prefontaine and Zachary Beach. Each week, the hosts bring you expert guests to help you navigate the many creative options available for buying or selling a home, while cutting out the costly hurdles of a conventional real estate deal. Hello and welcome to another episode of Not Just a Transaction, the home buyers and sellers podcast. We bring you guests weekly that share their expertise, their story of why it is not just a transaction to them. And it's actually my pleasure this week to be welcoming one of the realtors out in Connecticut who we've actually done several deals together over the years on both sides of the coin. So he's referred buyers to us and we've referred sellers to him and vice versa. So with that, I'd like to welcome Dale Masslon. Dale, welcome to the show.
Hey, Nick, thanks for having me. I heard you say it was your pleasure, but I think it's my pleasure as well. So appreciate you inviting me on the show.
Well, two pleasures are better than one, Dale.
There you go.
And Dale, also, thing I wanted to mention, Zach couldn't join us today because, he's tied up. He's busy. He's busy helping those sellers and to get some more properties. So he couldn't make it, regretfully. I wish he could be here as well because we usually volley back and forth, and I think it'd be a good match to have him with us. However, you and I have a great relationship. I think we do a lot together, and we have done a lot together over the years. So I think we can handle it. Don't you, Dale?
I think we can handle it, and maybe we can come up with some things that Zach might have asked us.
That's right. That's right. So, Dale, first, to kind of introduce yourself to the listeners out there, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, so like we said, I'm Dale. I come from a 30-something year background in manufacturing and running other people's businesses. And in 2012, when my business didn't need me anymore, I looked for something new to do, and I got into investing and flipping homes and found that I was having problems with finding good real estate agents. So I saw the need and became one and kind of left that whole investment world behind. And, for the last 7-8 years, all I've done is work with, mostly buyers, a lot of sellers, helping them realize the dream or goal that they need to do for their family.
Yeah, whether that's for whatever reason, exit a particular property, or for buyers, it's buying a property.
Right. And, I always say selling is supposed to be the easy part of real estate, which I've never really understood that because I think there's challenges on both sides. But I like working with buyers, the challenge of working with buyers and helping them. You never find a buyer who's buying for a sad reason, where almost every sale involves some kind of sad emotion when you're selling.
I don't think I've ever heard it phrased like that, Dale, that selling is the easy part. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that, but you want to elaborate on that?
Well, yeah, if you talk to a listing agent, they'll tell you that the buyer's agents have it made. If you talk to buyer's agents, they'll always tell you a listing agent has it made. When you talk to someone who does it all, right? The sell side, you really, we meet the sellers. If we price it right and present it to the market correctly, and you meet those three things: price, location, and condition, and price for the location and condition, the properties pretty much help sell themselves. Where with buyers, there's a lot more challenges. You have credit, you have price points, you have emotion. There's a lot more. I think there's a lot more moving pieces on the buy side than on the sell side. You can almost run your sell side as a flow chart, and 90% of the cases and say, okay, if this happens, this is what we're going to do. Where with buyers, you never know. You know there's going to be emotion and you know there's going to be stress in every deal. You just don't know where it's going to come up. And I see my job as being the guy, kind of like the coach of a football team. My job is to be on the sidelines, directing and guiding everybody to get to the end.
Well, I think that's, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I think that kind of goes back to the old adage that the grass is always greener. Oh, it's, what I do is very important. I'm very busy, and what you do, yeah, that's easy over there.
Right.
Everyone always feels that way, I think, no matter what industry or business you're in.
Right. What I see though, Nick, is like for my listings, I have an assistant, very capable assistant. And on the list side, a lot of that stuff can be delegated off to my assistant, right? The photos, the staging, all that stuff gets done in the background where you can't tell your assistant, hey, take Mary and Joe out to go look for a new home.
Yeah, I understand. Right. There are a lot of intricacies with that regard in working with buyers, and really over the years you've referred both buyers and sellers to us, and one of those sellers who you referred to us, the rent home buyer, is actually getting their own loan. They're going through the approval process right now. So that's definitely encouraging the proof of concept for all the listeners out there that it actually does work. It gets buyers to the finish line getting their own
go
loan.
ahead, no, finish.
No, I was just going to say of getting their own loan.
Yeah. Well, I just want to add it, right? It helps solve problems for people that traditionally wouldn't have a way of help. Right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
In that particular case, they needed to sell. Their choice was rent my house and move to my new location because they had a relocation, and hope that the tenants don't destroy it, sell it, which at the time the market was depressed. They couldn't sell it for what they owed on it. So now they're going to have to bring a big check to the closing table or work with an out of the box company who could bring a buyer and a seller together in a non-traditional way until that buyer was ready to execute and along the normal route and get a mortgage. So now we have happy seller, right? Because their mortgage is getting paid and they're not worrying about it every month. We have happy buyer because they have a place to live that they can now treat as their forever home. And now we move forward a couple of years. What is it? Almost 3 years now. We move forward. Now we have a happy seller because they're getting a check, and we have a happy buyer because they're getting a home. And so us all on the sidelines, we're all, at this point, we're the cheerleaders, and we've made two families incredibly happy.
That's right. And that actually leads to my next question. And that's what do you do? Kind of twofold. What do you do to help buyers and sellers, and why do you care?
So I don't know why I care. That would be the real answer, right? I could come up with a textbook, I care because, but I have always, my background has always been, even from a kid, doing paper routes and shoveling snow, make the customer happy and provide the utmost customer service I can. So like I said, when I got into real estate as a consumer, I couldn't find what I was looking for as an agent. And I never felt like everybody was working for Dale. I always thought they were working for themselves. So I start, before we ever go out to look at houses, I start with a consultation that takes probably 20 to 30 minutes over the phone. And then if there's more questions, we get together. But like some of my clients have said, gee, you ask a lot of questions. It's not that I'm nosy. I'm asking the questions up front to prevent heartbreak for the guy down the road, but also to make sure that, like, I can tell in a 20-minute conversation, whether they're a traditional buyer, they got gobs of cash, and they got a 800 plus credit score, and we're just going to drop them off and work with a local lender or local bank and get them through, or they might need a little help. And we set them with people that can help them, such as your company or a credit repair company or something along those lines. And then we have a whole bunch of people. I'd say those are the opposite ends of the extreme that I deal with. And then everybody in the middle, who, by the way, all has something that needs to be managed or controlled or taken care of. So I'm matching potential clients or clients with good resources, right? We're making sure we're upfront. Here's a good lender to talk to. Here's a good company if you don't fit the box. Same with on the buy side. I mean, on the sell side, we look at questions like, how much you owe in your house? Where are you going? How fast do you have to move? Because all of that's going to dictate how we manage. So for me, it's like, I look at myself as a consultant, not as a sales guy. And I'd rather spend time. And like I tell people, if you're looking to sell your house and you don't know exactly what your house is worth, I'm okay if you interview more than one real estate agent. I'm okay if you talk to people, but you at least deserve it yourself, owe yourself a cup of coffee with Dale so that Dale can sit down and explain to you. I'm an educator, so I'll educate you on the process and what I think is best for you. And if you choose me, great. If you don't, hopefully I made a friend along the way, drink my coffee and go home.
You know what? I particularly love the fact that you just referred to yourself in the third person. That was terrific.
Sorry. I can do it for the rest of the interview if you want.
No. That I don't think that'll be necessary. But one of the things we are talking about offline, Dale, is how you help, whether it's both buyers, both on the buy side and the sell side, that if there is not one way to get it done within that box, you're always looking for solutions. You're always looking to solve their problem. Like you just said, you're a consultant. But I think it's important for the listeners to hear that you're looking for a solution, whether that's with you or with other people. I want to make sure we touch on that because I didn't think we hit that nail on the head.
Right. Yeah, because maybe I'm not the right guy. Like sometimes personalities don't click or situations don't click. And like I read a lot of the Facebook forums for real estate agents, and you see, I can't believe my brother's cousin, my brother's best friend bought a house with another agent. I can understand that. Maybe your brother's friend didn't want you to know all their personal business. Or maybe your brother's friend didn't think you could get the job over the line. So when I meet people, I don't hold it against them if they don't do business with me. And sometimes they come back later. Or in one case, I didn't get the listing, but the lady told her daughter-in-law when they were selling their house, don't call anyone else until you call Dale. And I sold the daughter's house fairly quickly. And I have two friends for life. They call me for everything real estate related going forward. And that's been like a 5-year relationship. So you have to, I think that goes to my background again of being in the manufacturing world. You're always wondering what's going to go wrong next. And if it does, how you're going to fix it. So to your point of always looking for solutions, I never turn on a cup of coffee with someone that may be an allied source or may know something I don't know. And we sit and and I talk to a lot of real estate agents around the country. I've got a great network of, if I have a problem, there's people I can pick up the phone and call.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that for our listeners. And finally, Dale, and this is kind of the most important question of the conversation here, and that's why is it not just a transaction to you? In other words, why do you give a shit?
Well, so I'm older. When I got into real estate, I was probably looking for something that was, the fact I can make my own hours is great. That said, I like to joke with people. I'm semi-retired. I work 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. It's just who I am. Right? I work half days. But I enjoy, anyone who knows me knows that I enjoy what I do. So I think it's the hunt. I like the challenge. I like the hunt. So, like I said, the majority of real estate transactions, there's always stress, there's always aggravation, and there's always surprises. So if I can get a buyer or a seller from, hey, I want to buy a house, or I need to sell my house, excuse me, to the closing table, and they didn't have any surprises, stress, or aggravation, I did my job 100%. I give myself an A. And I just look at it as my job's to be like, hey, you know, we have an inspection issue. We have an inspection issue. Here's the problem. Here's the ways we can solve it. And there's always an outcome, right? Because at the end of the day, we're problem solvers. As a real estate agent, I'm a problem solver. The seller's problem is he has a property he has to sell. The buyer's problem is he has a property he wants to buy. Everything in the middle is really useless, but stuff that runs us off the track. So we're trying to get from point A to point B. And in the middle, there's always a solution. And on that note, what I like to say, because a lot of people's idea of negotiation is I throw out a number, you throw out a number, and we meet halfway in the middle. And I always start a negotiation with, that's not the middle is never the right solution, right? It's what's right for everybody. So early on in my career, as you know, I don't know if I mentioned, I work for Keller Williams, which is the largest real estate company in the country. And we do a lot of training. So one of my earliest trainings, the gentleman stood up in front of the room with a paper plate and something on it. And he said, when you negotiate, take that plate and turn it around 180 degrees. And would you take what's on the other side of the plate? And I think what's made me as successful as I've been is I'm able to spin that plate in a way that nobody's walking away from the table feeling like they lost or got screwed. And again, what jazzes me really is handing somebody a set of keys or handing them the check and seeing the smile on their face that they can now, they met that goal in their life. I closed on my house. I got a set of keys. I joke with them at the closing. You just, spent $250,000 for a set of keys. But, or on the sales side, here's your big old check. Now you can go pay off your mortgage. And seeing people happy is really what jazzes me, and making it all come together at the end.
Well, I think you're a lot like us in that we're looking to create win-win-win transactions, both as us as the investors, the buyers, and the sellers. And it sounds like from your standpoint, a little bit different. You're a real estate agent or you're a realtor, but you're looking for the same thing, to create a win-win-win transaction between you, the buyer, and the seller. So it sounds very, very similar. That's why I believe that our goals and our values align, and that we're always able to work together. And I do think it's a great relationship going forward. And I really look forward to all the buyers and the sellers who were able to affect and help not only with our deals that we do, but also this information that we're putting out there and sharing with everyone. Lastly, I wanted to make sure that I mention, for those of you that are looking to buy a home, head on over to property with a Y, solutions.com. Make sure you look at the video right on the homepage that goes over how our rent-to-own program works. And then make sure you're filling out the contact form to get in touch with us and start the process. If you're looking to sell your home, make sure you're also heading to that website, Property Solutions, fill out a contact form, and one of our team members will get in touch with you. Dale, once again, just want to thank you for coming on the show, Not Just a Transaction. And I wanted to say, make sure to all the listeners, make sure you're tuning in next week, where we're going to be bringing another guest on the show that can provide you knowledge and insight that you're going to need to either buy or sell your home. This is Nick Prefontaine. And I had Dale Masslon on. I was fortunate enough to have him on. And we hope all of you out there have a great day. Thanks, Dale.
Thank you, Nick. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to another episode of Not Just a Transaction. If you want to learn more on selling a home, buying a home, or resources to learn more, head on over to our website at originalre.com.